There we go. Starter, neutral, counter pick, bannable. I think that's what we do. I am going to look at the Tekken 8 stages as if I am a Smash player. I don't react to the meme. I react to them stepping in grab. Then you're not reacting to the mid. And I see a mid, so I delay power crush into it. So you're not reacting to the mid. You just said I see a mid and I delay power crush it. So you're not reacting to the, and also if you're close enough to someone, you don't have to step in to grab. Like, you're making shit up. Or these team players are fucking awful. That could be the thing too. Starter, neutral, counter pick, bannable. So we're gonna look at the Tekken 8 stages as if we're a Smash player trying to decide how to create a legal stage list for tournaments. Now, Tekken 8 will more than likely have all of its stages legal. More than likely it will be random for the first stage, though I don't think it should be. That's really stupid in like tournament setting. And then you're allowed to either change character or change stage. That's usually how it works in Tekken 7. So I'm assuming they're going to keep that same energy and that same style of play and variability for Tekken 8, which is good, right? I like the fact that at least Tekken, out of all the 3D fighters, understands that stages really, really matter. Now, a lot of the things about these stages is generally that a lot of them are around the same size, right? Not all of them are inherently too big or too small. Like, there are going to be there's going to be some variants to stages that are even similar. So what I'm going to do really fast, I'm going to open the game, move this over. We're going to look at each stage, and then we're going to put it on the list. I don't want to just do this off memory from the top of my head. The game is very fresh. It's very new. So I want to move this over here and actually open Tekken 8 and do this the right way. I'm going to pause the music. Open the game. I think Steam is validating it right now. Yay. Let me get my stick. I could probably do this on pad. We'll just use the mini because I'm kind of lazy. Now, this isn't anything super important. This is basically a thought experiment, right? Most people who think about fighting games don't think like stages matter as much as they do, especially not for the older NRS games and the 3D fighters that have like stage interactables or different stage links, different variabilities on the walls or ring outs or stage transitions, but they actually legitimately do matter. They mean a lot to the amount of like the types of combos you can get, the way you feel like you're in disadvantage, the certain routes that you go for or enders you have to go for, and if your character has a good ender for said style of floor break, wall bound, etc. So let us pick our character. And I guess we'll just beat up Reina, right? We're gonna just go and look at all the stages. Oh, that sounded loud. I hope I didn't just break my laptop. I accidentally put my elbow on it. We're gonna go in order. So first, let's look at the stages and see how many of them have the same 24 by 24, 24 by 24, 24 by 24. So Urban Square is the same stage. And this is the boat. Okay, so we can even look at the stage links here. So let's look at Arena. Let's look at these, the Arenas and Urban Square. They're both 24 by 24s. The only difference between Arena and Urban Square is Urban Square, you start in the 10 by 10 square in one corner, and then you have to move further out from said corners, right? So this stage is like probably one of the smallest in the game, or it's close to the smallest in the game, but not the smallest. You could probably get your opponent to the wall with one combo, right? If I wouldn't drop my combo. Yeah, you can absolutely get your opponent to the wall with one combo, right? Like before you even finish your combo, you're already at the wall, which is probably a good thing, which means that most of the time your opponents are going to be backdashing and sidestepping around start, and it's going to create more dynamic feel. Yeah, it's going to create like a more neutral heavy feel, right? It's going to make it so that general, record this status. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. It's going to make it so that more often than not, you're worried about creating space at round start instead of just immediately slugging. I would consider these stages neutral. Let me go ahead and open this. Go ahead and open this. Move it over. Boom. I would consider these stages, the urban squares, oopsies, urban squares, neutral. So let's go ahead and put these in neutral. Urban square is the same stage. It literally doesn't matter. Now there is one caveat. This stage has an interactable. So we'll go ahead and just throw this one in counterpick. Yeah. Let's move over to the next group of stages. Right, we could knock those out immediately because they're all basically the same stage. They're all basically the same stage, right? If you're going to think of one stage you can consider a starter, right? These are neutral, right? It's very hard to choose, but you could probably put Arena actually legitimately in starter because of the fact that you start in the middle of the stage, you're not starting in a 10 by 10 square in the very beginning of the stage. So now let's look at the next group of stages. I actually think after this, the stages become a little more dynamic. It's really only those four that feel so similar. So we've already knocked out these four. Yakushima. Let's take a look at Yakushima, shall we? Yakushima is 80 by 105 is what it said, right? 80 by 105. Huge stage, massive stage, a lot of space to work with. You can basically backdash to your heart's content and just get away from your opponent. You don't really have to do anything here. You just do this forever, right? You're gonna max out the stage length and still not be near a wall. By the way, the stage is massive. Oops. Nowhere near a wall. Nowhere near a wall at all, right? I'd have to continue like wave dashing at them to be near a wall. Like, we're still not there. This stage is huge. The stage is definitely 100% a counter pick, right? You only take people to the stage if you need a lot of space to work with. If your character either A is really good at running away or B has terrible fucking wall combos versus another character, right? Like your character has significantly worse wall pressure and wall game, so you don't want to have to deal with it. You probably just like take them here. You more than likely take them here. You could even say the same thing about something like the Coliseum stage. I'll go ahead and just throw that here. We'll show it just real quick for comparison. But, I mean, it's not super different. It's just a little bit bigger. I mean, a little bit smaller. And circular instead of being a square. Right, 120 by 80. And this is 58 by 70. So once again, if you do a long combo, I'm actually going to switch sticks because this one's kind of loud and I'm also loud. So we're going to swap sticks. Okay, one take YouTuber, you know me. So let me swap to my main stick. Okay, we're in. Oops, wrong button. Yeah, nowhere near a wall. Like, we're pretty close now, right? So like one more like mini combo and we're near the wall. And now we're at the wall. So it's still a lot of space, right? But you're not going to wall carry someone all the way to the wall in neutral for this specific stage. It's just too big. Also, essentially just another counter pick, right? The problem is these two stages are so similar that you could probably ban one, but we'll get to like bannable and what I think is bannable and why in a little bit. We'll now move on to the next group of stages. I don't know if there's a group for this one. I don't know if there's a group. The next stages would be... yeah, Fallen Destiny, and what is the other one? There's one more that's really similar to Fallen Destiny. Fallen Destiny Into the Stratosphere. Oh, they're not the same at all. One is 28 by 28 with a floor blast for the final round, right? And then the other one is always 16 by 28. These are similar. I think one is just like more simple than the other. I think Into the Stratosphere is definitely the one that you would consider a counter pick because you get the floor blast, and some characters are going to be worse at floor blast combos than others. But the stage layout is relatively similar, right? 16 by 28 or 28 by 28, but final round it turns into about the same size. Not anything too crazy different. We could probably just move these over right now. We don't even have to talk about them. I guess I could show them for argument's sake.
Get ready for the next battle.
Let's just show them for argument's sake. There we go. Now you see the stage, right? It is very small, as you can see. So let's go over, do this. Into the Stratosphere, which is this one. Probably a counter pick. And this is probably a starter, right? I would call this a counter pick specifically because of the fact that it is going to more than likely only be in play. Fallen Destiny is probably new. I would consider it a starter. And then Into the Stratosphere is definitely a counter pick because of the fact that the only reason why you would pick this stage over Fallen Destiny is more than likely because of the fact that your character has a really, really, really solid way to constantly break the floor, right? To like get that floor blast in the final round as a way to close out the round, get extra damage, create a bigger life lead for yourself. And it's not something you have to take a giant risk in neutral to get, right? Or you can even get it off a combo. Let's move on to the next group of stages after doing the combo test. Let's do the combo test. Yeah, we're already at the wall, dude. Yeah, we're already at the wall. I think my wall combo is this. Oops. It's that. That's my wall ender. Yeah, I'm making shit up. Now let's go back to stage select. Well, Destiny probably nooch. Oh yeah, I just read that. Now we get to the stages that have a lot more dynamic play outside of celebration into the scene. This one is a neutral stage, so let's just go ahead and get this one out of the way really fast. The boat stage, I think the boat stage is like probably the final destination of the game. It's like the most neutral of neutral stages. We'll go ahead and throw that in neutral, right? So I think these two are the starters and these are neutrals. Like, you only really pick these over these if you like the layout better or you really kind of want to be in a different position on the screen, right? 20 by 24 is pretty similar to the 24 by 24s, but instead of starting in the middle for these two stages, you want to start in that 10 by 10 square, or this one specifically, you just need a little less sidestep wall carry so that when you get your sidestep combos, you're making it to the wall faster, right? I don't have to show the boat stage. The music is pretty good, but I don't really need to show it. Ortiz Form, Sanctum, Sent into Subconsciousness, Secluded Training Ground, and Midnight Siege are the only stages left. Midnight Siege, we'll show this stage just because it has a wall blast.
Get ready for the next battle.
This might take a while. I didn't realize how dynamic these stages are. This game has really dynamic stages. So if we sidestep here, you guys see those barrels right there? Those explosive barrels. If we sidestep into those explosive barrels and land a combo, we get a wall blast. Not a good one, right? There's probably way better combos than that, but there's your example. And the stage is relatively small, right? It's really easy to actually get that wall blast there. I'm not gonna lie to you. All you need to do is like sidestep one or twice. You already know where that stage is going. Yeah, it's really easy to get that, like super duper easy to get that, and probably always extremely powerful, right? I don't think there's any reason why this stage shouldn't be considered either a counter pick or bannable, right? Like it feels way too easy to get that condition and knock it out and basically steal away a free round from someone. I don't really like this stage. It's also really, really small. I don't like this stage. It feels like a Smashville, where it's really tiny, and then there's also just a fucking explosion on the side of the stage that you can almost always guarantee by getting a free sidestep versus your opponent using something small but linear into a launch, right? Probably not okay. It's in the game. I could see someone consider this being a neutral stage if they're a weirdo, but I personally don't see it. The only stage I could ever consider neutral that has dynamic effects is Elegant Palace. I'm gonna go ahead and put this. I'm sorry, a starter stage is Elegant Palace. We're gonna show you guys Elegant Palace real quick. Now, the reason why, even though Elegant Palace has a balcony break, I consider it a neutral stage is because there's there's two interactables. One makes the stage really, really big, right? Also, this music slaps. Oops. Trying to break that. There we go. Right, and like after you break this, more than likely, unless you have like a really long reaching combo, you're not going to immediately break that. And now look how much space there is on this stage, right? This stage becomes really big, right? And then the dimensions of the walls become closer. So let's just knock out this. Oops, dropped it. And I think this can't break. Does this break too? Yeah, this doesn't break. So it's just the two, and then there's no more interactables. You now start down here for every other round, and this stage is like the perfect stage in the game. This stage is literally perfect. I have no problem with this stage at all. I think that Elegant Palace is my favorite stage in the game that has interactables, that has like wall breaks. A wall break and a balcony break. And it's because of the fact that the stage is already like relatively a normal size, and then just becomes something else, but doesn't give like a floor blast or a wall blast. And I think that's pretty good. Let's go back over to stage select. I'll show you the stage I think could be a neutral stage, even though it's a, even though it has, what's it called? Even though it has a floor break.
Get ready for the next battle.
The stage also has 3 levels, because when you think about Elegant Palace, it technically has 3 levels. It has the first one, then it has after the wall break. Alright, so this one, a wall blast, does it? It might have a wall blast. I'll go look in a second. I don't know how to break this shit. Oh. There we go. So that was transformation number 1, and now we're at the gold. We're at the skull and bones. There's a reason why I call this skull and bones. Skull, and now you're destroyed and put into bones. I think it's singular wall blast. Yeah. So this stage, relatively normal size up here, really nice. A lot of space to work with. You start relatively close to each other and pretty close to the middle, right? And then you get that first wall break only on one side. Go down to another stage that's also relatively normal sized. Then you get a floor break, right? The floor break, you can generally just end a combo in it. It's not one of those things where it needs to be like the starter, right? Where it needs to be like a floor blast. The wall blast, most characters have something they can use on it. So I consider this a neutral stage, not a counter pick. I don't consider this a bannable stage either. I think this stage is like relatively solid. I don't like the music on it sometimes, right? I think it's because I've heard it a lot, but the stage is fine. The stage is pretty good. I don't know if I already put it down. Let me see. Did I already move Ortiz Farm? No, I did not. Let's put it under neutral stage. And there's 3 stages here that you could probably just ban. Is it kind of pick for the music alone? Yeah, that music will piss people off. This stage, the first stage, is just too fucking small.
Get ready for the next battle.
This stage would be really good if you just always started in the middle stage. But because of the fact that you first start in this 20 by 20, that's super tiny and is going to favor characters that really like a fast, aggressive offense, you're basically just like putting yourself at risk. And it takes 2 to break the floor here, but only 1 to break the floor here. And now we go down to the second biggest stage in the game, or pretty similar to the second biggest stage in the game. Something like that, right? And I don't hate this stage whenever I'm like playing on it, but I can see the fact that like this top level and the bottom level are both very abusable by different styles of character. So because of that, most people would probably consider this a counter pick, right? Because certain characters can't, like most characters won't be able to abuse both the top and bottom, generally. Unless you have like a really good wall game and you also have a really good runaway game. And if that's the case, I don't want you being able to use this stage and create completely unfair advantages for yourself. I think this stage is absolutely bannable. Another stage I think is bannable is Secluded Training Ground. I also think Sanctum is pretty bannable. When it comes to like actual competitive viability, I don't think either one of those stages are actually fine. it doesn't matter that much, right? I think a lot of players for fighting games don't really care that much about stages. But when you look at this stage, I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go to the stage. I hate the stage. There's fucking 3 wall breaks on each side. The stage fully becomes like 108 by like 20 or 108 by 24. I think it's 108 by 20. So it's a really small, narrow stage. It's very easy to get people to the sidewall always. And 3 wall breaks on either side makes it fair because both players have access to those wall breaks. But it makes you play really awkward where you have to take the side wall. You have to try to go for Michelle. I guess I'll show.
Get ready for the next battle.
You almost always, as a player, are going to choose to just sidestep around start. With worse wall breaks or ball breaks? Probably wall breaks. You're almost always going to choose to just sidestep around start. I want the game to be here. I don't want the game to be this way. Do you know why I don't want the game to be this way? Because... Oops, dropped it. Damn, I suck. That's 1 wall break already. Off of 1 combo. You're breaking my balls? Right, 1 wall break off like a very standard combo. And then now we're already back at the wall again. It's like come on. The stage is a fucking joke. The stage is very dynamic, and I think it's really, really cool, like, casually, but I don't think this stage is fair. Like, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, this stage is really fair, man. Like, it should be in the game. This and Sanctum kind of have those same issues, but at least for the final, like, rounds of Sanctum, once you get the wall break, it, like, breaks the floor. It crumbles the floor, and you go to, like, a more neutral stage. I'll show you guys the stage on the list, but I don't think this stage is okay. I don't think either of these stages are okay. Let me move over to stage selection. Sanctum is not so bad, but you see, so it has hard wall breaks here on the second floor. Once you break those walls, then there's a hard floor break, right? It crumbles down and you go to this bottom floor. That's what happens for this stage, but once again, that same issue applies where you want to just sidewalk at the start of the round because of the fact you don't want to deal with the 2 wall breaks on either side, and then you just have a 20 by 28 stage. Or in this case, a 16 by 28 stage on the bottom. The wall break in Sanctum triggers the floor drop in the next round. Yeah, so once you wall break, you go down to the second stage, which is a little more fair. Or it drops in the final round, whichever comes first. Yeah, this stage is a little more fair than Training Ground, but that variance and the way that you have to play, the weirdness, isn't really long-term healthy. I said the same thing about this stage, and I love this stage. I love the second 2 stages. The basement 1 and floor 1, but I don't think it's actually a good stage. And it looks beautiful, right? I love this stage. It's just not a good one. The last stage we need to look at is Rebel Hangar. Rebel Hangar has a balcony break and then a wall blast on each side, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if the wall blasts are one-time usage. Okay, so as you can see, if you look this way, you see like a, hey, don't go that way, right? So on the other side, you don't see that. Which means that the wall break is on this side. Oops. There we go. And where are the... Okay, there are the explosions. So let's move over to those explosions. There's one on each side, so we can go to either one. How do we get these to explode? I'm trying to get this shit to explode. Ah, there we go. Whatever, right? So we got the explosion. It doesn't actually send them the other way. So this one like leaves them on the wall, which is pretty nice. I think this stage, because it's like 2 normal sizes and just has like a wall blast on the bottom, but a balcony break on the top, it's not so bad. I really like this stage. conceptually, there are some small issues. The fact that both sides always lead to a wall blast once, kind of fucked up. But because of that, I would just put it in counterpick. I wouldn't ban this stage. Right, so when we look at all the stages, we have Arena as a starter, Fallen Destiny as a starter, Elegant Palace as a starter. The only starter that has a transition in it, in my humble opinion. Neutral stages, both of the Urban Yard. This is the same stage, right? What is this called? I think the thing about, so if we were to clean this up, right, you would also ban one of the urban stages. It doesn't matter which one. You probably shouldn't be able to pick both of these stages competitively. One should more than likely be banned. Same thing with both of the really big stages, right? Yakashima is basically an infinite stage, so you would probably just ban Coliseum, or vice versa. You would have one legal, not the other, depending on how it feels. Like, you would get rid of the draft shaft, right? The only reason why you keep Arena and Arena Underground is because one of them is a counterpick. It is a very different stage. The way that you play on it is different because you have to avoid the wall blast. These are the same stage. The Urban City, or whatever the fuck it's called. They're the same stage. And then these are both just really big stages that are basically count as infinite stage, where you're almost never getting to the wall if you're playing properly. And if you do get to the wall, I mean, you made it there. Congratulations. That doesn't mean they should both be legal. This stage looks way more cleaned up now. Like I said, I think the blast in Palace is a side swap blast. The opposite is a wall. The opposite wall is a wall. Okay, let me go look real quick before we finalize this. Let's go take a look. Stage selection. Yeah, the wall blasts that side swap are really funny, but they're not inherently bad. Yeah, it says wall bound. What's the difference between wall bound and wall blast? Wall bound. I don't think there's a difference. Is wall blast side swap? Is that what it is? You say wall bound. This says wall blast, and I know this side swap. Wall blast, but those don't side swap, and they say wall blast. I'm really confused. Let's see what wall bound is. Let's see what the difference between wall bound and wall blast are real quick. Wall bound is a wall break. Thank you. Why the fuck didn't that break? Also, why did that put me back turn? There we go. So that's a wall bound. So, and then that other one is normal, right? There's no wall break over there. Okay. Okay, so you see all that stuff over there? That stuff is like a warning. I think same thing on this side. Yeah, they're a warning. Like, if you go over there, you're gonna get blown up, I think. Oh, that didn't actually explode. There we go. Oh, that side swaps. Okay. Yeah, that side swaps. Let's see if the other one is the same. Okay, maybe this stage is a little cheap. Maybe this stage is a little cheap. Does it go away after you use it once? Okay, it does. Okay. Yeah, this stage is a little cheap, but I still think it's fine because you have to earn your way down here, right? You have to break a wall, and then after you break the wall, get the balcony break. While your opponent is now trying to just fight their way off of that wall and choosing to make the stage become it was just one side. Nah, it's both sides, bro. This stage is a little more cheap than I thought, but I still think that this is probably, this and Ortiz Farm are probably the best two interactive stages in the game that have like multiple things, right? Ortiz Farm, probably a counter pick. Where is it at? I'm really bad. There it is. Ortiz Farm, probably a counter pick, because of the floor break. And then Elegant Palace, probably a neutral stage. Probably a starter, actually. I think that would be fine. Let's just go over to Yakashima. And then I will pause the game and talk about the list that we have created. With examples, right? We went through almost all the stages, I think. Let's pull up this list. So we've got, first let me save this. Let me download this. We've got it ready now. Nice. Nice. Okay, so we've got that ready. Got that saved. So for starters, we have Arena, All in Destiny, and Elegant Palace. Elegant Palace being probably the most fair, even though it has 2 wall blasts. Funny. Probably the most fair of the transitionable stages, because you first have to break a wall and then you can get a balcony break to get to that second level that has the 2 side walls that explode, and then the other 2 walls are normal, right? For neutral stages, we have the urban setting. We just banned one of them because there's no reason to have both. If you're trying to think of competitive viability, you don't want to ban one and they just pick the other. That's really stupid. That was an argument I heard for Tekken 7 about how you can't just like have stage picks and bans, because if you ban one infinite, they'll just pick the other. No, you just make both of the infinite stages one, right? And we'll go through our bans and explain the logic for why there's some stages there you see that don't make any sense. This stage is kind of basically arena, but it doesn't have a hexagon, and then you also start in a 10 by 10 square, so you have a lot of room behind you, in comparison to the starter, right? So it's easier to push someone to this corner in the very, very beginning. The ship stage, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, sorry, is basically just a smaller version of the arena, right? It's a square and it's 20 by 24, still relatively fair, not like inherently broken, not too small or anything, so it's totally fine. I think the stage is really good. The music also fucking slaps. Ortiz Farm, the only stage I have as a neutral or starter that has transitions. I like the fact that it's only one wall, that it's a floor break, and then a wall blast all the way around, and then after that wall blast, the stage becomes the most normal and fair stage in the game, basically. That's all that bottom floor becomes. And the other two stages are also relatively fair. They just happen to have either a balcony break or a floor break, right? Counterpicks, we have Arena Underground, just because the fact that you have to play a little more funky with the giant explosives on the sides that literally blow you up and cause a side swap and a full combo. Yakushima, this could easily be replaced by the Coliseum. Both of these stages are really, really big. They're basically the infinite stage of the game because they don't want to create an infinite stage. But you just, if you have one, you ban the other, right? So I chose to get Yakushima because it's the bigger of the two. Also, I really like the music on Yakushima, as you guys can hear right now. But if one is legal, the other one shouldn't be. They're both really, really big. You basically never ever see the wall if you're playing halfway aggressively, even in disadvantage and trying to fight your way away from the wall, because it's a lot of space both ways, right? Not just vertically, also horizontally. Into the Stratosphere is really, really similar to Fallen Destiny, but there's a floor blast on the final round, which means that if you can take your opponent to final round, you can basically kind of cheese away or steal a game, and I think that gives it a little more of a counter pick feel than it does a starter or a neutral, because a lot of characters are going to be able to use that significantly better than others, and their characters have the tools to use that, right? The underground airport, whatever that is, I don't know what it's called, sorry, apologies. That stage is a really good stage. Only has one major flaw, and that's that the 2 sides are really easy to kind of not be able to see the walls, so you don't know when you're about to get wall broken and sent through the wall. But I like the fact that it's just a balcony break into an explosion on one side, not the other, and it's 2 relatively neutral or starter stages outside of those 2 interactables, right? The balcony break and then the wall blast. Stages I have under bannable, we'll explain the ones at the end first. If you have Yakushima, you shouldn't have Coliseum. If you have Coliseum, you shouldn't have Yakushima. If you have Urban Underground or Urban Square, whatever it's called, you shouldn't have Evening, you shouldn't have Day, or vice versa, right? I mean, I guess just pick one, the other one isn't legal, it doesn't matter. Because of the fact that makes stages redundant. It was an argument I heard for Tekken 7 when I said, oh, yeah, there could have been like a pick and ban system, because there were certain characters that were just really, really good on Infinite Stage. So if they ever tried a pick and ban system in Tekken 7, people were like, well, if you ban Infinite 01, they'll just go to 2, or they'll go to the snow stage. It's like, no, you just say Infinite Stage. Infinite Stage is banned, bitch. Like, you can't touch an Infinite Stage. So essentially, Yakushima is an Infinite Stage. If you ban Yakushima, you can't go back to you can't go to Coliseum. If you ban the Urban Square, you can't go to the Urban Square Evening, right? That's why these are here. Sanctum, a little crazy of a stage. You almost always just want to sidestep. Same thing, like these two have the same logic. Sanctum and the Secluded Training Ground. You almost always want to sidestep round start, or start your neutral with sidestepping, so that you have to deal with the 2 walls, not the 2 wall breaks, into an extended combo, and then a floor break for Sanctum. Floor break triggers after the wall break every round. I mean, the first round it happens, or final round if it doesn't occur. And then Secluded Trading Garden is basically Howard Estate, but both ways. Instead of Howard Estate one way, which I thought was absolutely busted and should have been banned in the first place in Tekken 7, we now have it both ways. So once again, you almost always want to start off neutral, just sidestepping and taking the 20 by 28 stage, which is kind of small. 20 by 28 isn't a big stage, right? 20 by 28. So that you don't have to deal with the extended combos or juggles from your opponent, right? And because of that, then what you want to do or end up having to do is realign your combos to get the wall break after the fact. It creates like a really unhealthy style of play. I think it should just be banned. I say the same thing about Succumb into the Subconsciousness. I love this stage. This stage looks fucking beautiful, right? I really love the top stage, but the problem is it's 20 by 20. It's very easy to abuse that close range wall pressure. You can get someone from wall to wall very easily if you ever turn the tides, and it takes two ground attacks to break the floor here to get off of this stage. Kind of annoying, right? And once you get into final round, it breaks one for you. So this stage is like, fuck, the stage is not okay. I don't really like this stage. The second stage, 36 by 36, not so bad inside of it, right? Not a hater on that. I think that should have been the starter stage to begin with. And then the very bottom level is a 72 by 72, really big. Once again, basically almost an infinite stage. So it has something that we already have one of banned, the Coliseum stage. And it has a 20 by 20, which is just basically way too small. That has a floor break that leads to extended juggles into a reset situation where you can almost always try to find yourself an additional floor break. A lot of characters really don't even want that final stage, but they want the floor break for the extra damage, which leads to awkward play. Just ban it, get it out of here. The Dragunov stage, I think this Dragunov stage, this stage is just really, really small. It's like 16 by 20 or 16 by 24. And then it has one side that has explosives on it, where you can basically steal away one free round from the opponent. And it's really easy to do because all you have to do is create a whiff, sidestep, boom, knock them against that wall that's right next to you round start. It's not even on either side. It's just on the other side of you. If you're looking to your left or looking to your right, whatever, you blow up that wall, boom. Easy way to steal off a round, and then you're in a really small enclosed space where it's very easy to get extended juggles or get your opponent to the wall and not really allow them to get their game plan, their offense started. This stage feels like if you're in a disadvantage once, you're basically fucking dead. I hate this stage. I think this stage fucking sucks. This is probably my least favorite stage in the game. So this is what I would do if I was choosing to create a pick and ban system, like something along the lines of Smash for Tekken. I think 3D fighter stages are extremely important, and people just pretend like they're not, and they shouldn't, right? It's not that we don't want to have the beauty of these stages on display. We don't want competitive integrity ruined, and we don't want randomness in our play. So I think having true picks and bans for something with interactable stages is like super important and should really be discussed more. Tell me how you feel about it in the comment section down below. Tell me if you think any of these stages could be moved around, added to ban, changed to counter pick, neutral, or starter. Tell me if you like this thought experiment, because that's really all it is. No one's going to listen to me. I'm just some random dude. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. This has been Beanie Thuggish talking about a potential thought experiment pick and ban system for Tekken 8, signing out and saying peace.